Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney and happy Sunday. All right, so typically on Sundays I'm doing some sort of a sew along Sunday, so a sew along or a tutorial or something along those lines. But you know what? We're at the beginning of summer-ish. Technically, I guess summer starts on June 21st, but school's out. I just got back, well, over a week now, when you're watching this, from my trip to Italy, which was our big family vacation, obviously, for a while. But just got back from that, and we left the day after my kids got out of school, so our summer has truly and really begun. So anyway, I just wanted to take today, I'm gonna even sit cross-legged here, to talk, it's cold here, which is why I'm in a sweatshirt, but to talk a little bit about some plans, what you guys want to see on the channel this summer, and just, we're gonna talk about getting back down to basics and why, this is more of a reminder to myself, why I love this hobby, why I love doing what I'm doing, and just kind of simplifying life a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about plans, I guess, for the summer and things that are going to be happening on the channel. Okay, so my 2023 has been a whirlwind, as you all know. Filming, producing, editing, and then running my fitting class back in the spring was way more of an undertaking than I had even anticipated, and I was anticipating it being quite an undertaking. And I am releasing that class again in the fall. If you're curious, I will be releasing that again in the fall. And then it was, once that was over, it was, head down, getting all of my family members' stuff made up for this Italian wedding trip. And I am tired. I'm tired and my sewing room is trashed. So I was, back and forth with those long flights, had quite a bit of time to kind of think about things. And I was watching, I don't know if it was on social media, I can't remember now where I saw, but it was talking about having your creative space being clean and minimal, or minimal-ish, or at least organized, because then it gave your brain room to create. And I was kind of thinking about that a little bit, because when I'm creating, it is anything but clean. I kind of like it that way, where there's just, and when I'm in the midst of creating, things are just like, which is just how my brain works. But if I am in the lull between projects and everything is blown up, I do have a hard time. I lose my sojo pretty easily, because I have a hard time focusing on what it is that's inspiring me and what it is that I want to be doing. So between that and between all of the wonderful, I came home from Italy with so much inspiration. I'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute, but so much inspiration to create all the beautiful clothes, which is great. That was kind of a little bit, even though it was not a vacation, it was a trip. So there was not really any relaxing that happened on this trip. A little bit, because our meals were slower, and I'll talk about that here in just a second a little bit too. But I did recharge, and in the sense that I came home feeling very inspired, because you're surrounded by so much beautiful art and clothes and paintings and, I mean, all sorts of things. The artwork in the cathedrals, the Sistine Chapel. I mean, there are just so much beautiful things to take in when you're in an old city like we were. So it was kind of a combination of that, and I'm like, number one, I mean, I did buy, you guys saw that I did some shopping and bought some new fabric, but I feel like a few things need to happen in my space this summer. Number one, I need to go through, I'm hiring teenagers to do Stashify, basically quite a bit of my stash. I already pulled quite a few pieces out when I did that Stashify video showing you how to sell things. I sold my first piece, my one and only piece. There's quite a bit more left to go. I just haven't had time to photograph and, get them uploaded, and then be able to turn around when they sell and get them shipped out and stuff like that. I just haven't had time for that. So I am hiring a couple of teenagers to do all of that for me. Jenny's daughter and my own are going to be doing that and taking care of everything, taking stuff to the post office, all of it. So one of the things that I want to do this summer is just go through and really take a look. I just have a lot of stacks of fabric that have been purchased that I love that I would like to use. But when it's just in stacks and it's not organized, and I'm pretty organized with my fabric, but things have gotten a little out of control this year. But I would like to be able to go through and easily see what I have. I already have an organizational system that works for me. I just have not been, oh my gosh, my nose itches so bad. I also came home sick. So, but I have an organizational system that I love how I store my fabric, and I've showed you guys that before. But I just need to put the new stuff into those places. So I just want to go through and be really honest with myself about fabric that I'm no longer in love with. Even if I spent, good, like, I mean, all of it I spent money on, but even if it's something that I spent like really nice pieces, it's time to let those go and to be in other people's homes. So that is number one that I'm going to be doing this summer, is going through. And so my Destashify shop is going to be up and running. I will let you guys know when that's the case. But here pretty soon, probably in the next month, that is going to be popping up. So that is one thing, just getting my space reacclimated. The other thing with this summer is just slowing down a little bit. I feel like I have been frantically sewing. There have been a couple of moments this year where I've been able to slow it down a little bit, but I still feel like then it creeps up and I'm like frantically sewing. And that is not good for my mental health. And that kind of does a disservice to my hobby. Now, I had deadlines like with this trip and all that sort of thing where things needed to get done. But I am so ready to take a minute and just slow it down. And so I was kind of thinking with Sundays, at least, I mean, maybe throwing a couple of sew-alongs in there, maybe some tutorials, but maybe just doing some vlogging this summer and just slowing it down a little bit, really enjoying the process of creating. And, I was able to piece together, you'll see on Tuesday, there are 7 things I want to make for my summer capsule, but if those 7 things didn't get made, I have a great summer capsule put together. So, I mean, I do want to get those. I do need a couple more pairs of shorts. So I do want to get those things made up, the things that I have plans for, but I don't want everything else that I need to do. My daughter needs a couple of pairs of shorts. I have a dress planned, a couple of dresses that I promised Jenny. But I just really want to slow down and enjoy the process. And when a new pattern release comes out and I just want to sew it because it looks amazing, I want to have time to be able to do that. And I know I'm not alone on that. And I also know that even with the channel, people will be like, oh my gosh, you sew so fast. And I do, but I also don't want to be putting unrealistic expectations out on the internet as well. I think it's important that we all slow down. That is one thing I learned. I promised I would quit talking about the Italy trip, but that's probably a lie. But one thing I learned, especially at meal times, I'm a fast eater. I'm a fast everythinger. I just, it's a character flaw of mine. That I just go fast from one thing to a next, and then I'm not present in the moment. And I come by this naturally. I can pinpoint the family members where this was either genetically ingrained in my DNA or learned behavior, or maybe a little bit of both. But it is something I am working on, of slowing down, enjoying the process. But that is one thing. So in Italy, all of our meals, we ate out for all of our meals, and they do. I noticed at the end of the meal, they never brought you the check. So for all they cared, you could sit there all night long. They would come check on you. Do you need anything else? Can I get you some, the limoncello at the end of the meal, the little digestif, the liqueur digestif. I said, I've got to quit making this a habit at the end of my meals. So good though, all fresh right there. Oh, but anyway, that aside, but they never, you had to ask when you were ready for your bill to be brought out to you, because they take long meals and enjoy each other and enjoy the food, and no one's eating fast. And not that it took them, I mean, they would bring out the food in a timely manner, but everyone had, like a starter, or like the antipasta at the beginning. Like, we had so many meals where the waiter would be like, no, you need the antipasta first. So they would bring out the breads and the meats and the cheeses, and the little garnishes, and it'd be little, all sorts of like yummy little things, pickled vegetables and all that kind of stuff that they would bring out. And then, once that had digested, then they would bring out the main course of whatever you were eating. And nothing was over like huge portions. That was also nice. I feel like we're eating so much food, but it was such smaller portions that I never felt like I was uncomfortably full. There was like maybe a couple of times that I'm like, I overate. But for the most part, that was not the case. So just that lesson of being present and in the moment and slowing down. So I would like to bring this back, that lesson learned back home, especially as we are in the summer months, and just slowing down a little bit. Taking advantage of batch cutting out my projects so then I can slowly go from one project to the next, and just have, things planned out, but that I can be, creatively. You guys know I have to be sewing in order for my mental health, and that's very important to me and important to my mental health. And I haven't even sewn since I got back from my trip, which hasn't been that long, and I have been sick, but it's time. It's time for me to do some cutting out and getting some things prepped and getting back into the swing of that. Now, I do have some stuff going on in the background. I have my shirt making 101 class that I would like to get out this summer. And that's not going to be like the fitting class. The shirt making 101 class is going to be more of a much lower price point, but it's going to be like here's the class, you can buy it whenever. It's not going to be, here's a class with a community with all this, it's going to have like PDFs and you can ask questions and stuff like that, but it's not going to be like a set time frame class. Not that the fitting class, you have access to the fitting class forever, but there's 6 weeks of like live Q&As and a community and stuff that go along with the fitting class, which make it more labor intensive on my part, but that's the whole point. It's a master class. The shirt making class is going to be more of a, you can buy it at any time. And it's going to be more than just making a shirt. I've got a whole bunch of things that I want to incorporate into that, which is exciting. So anyway, I've got that going on in the back burner. Obviously, you'll hear more about that when the class does get released. But yes, got some of that stuff going on behind the scenes. But yeah, I was also thinking that on that note, so I've been very inspired, like I said. So let's talk about that with art in general and with everyone's clothing that was there in Rome. I saw so many, dresses were everywhere. Everyone was wearing dresses, lots of linen, lots of bright colors, lots of beautifully dressed women, lots of one piece like romper type outfits too that I saw. Beautiful tailored pieces, lots of like tailored shirt dresses, tailored shirts, loose fitting pants, that sort of thing that I was seeing while we were over there. Lots of ruffles. Everyone was beautiful. Everyone was beautiful over there. And just beautifully dressed. And I felt very much that I had packed appropriately. I felt very good in every outfit that I had on and that I had packed appropriately, but just bringing some of that back here. So I was kind of thinking, going old school a little bit back with the channel. Now, again, I've got my capsule wardrobe. We're going to be talking about that next week, and I've got some plans associated with that. Although, again, if I didn't make any of those pieces, then my summer capsule's pretty much set. I've just done a really good job at getting my basics nailed down. I think that's really good. So I'm kind of thinking for the rest of the summer, I may do a more old school YouTube video where it's, here are my plans for the month of June. And at the end of June, here's what I made for the month of June. July, here are my sewing plans for the month of July. The end of the month, here's my July lookbook, or the beginning of August or whatever. just for June, July, August. Just as kind of a chance to make things just because I want to make them, you know? So some dresses and using up some of my beautiful fabric once I've organized it, and just making some stuff that aren't necessarily, now everything goes into a capsule, and I'll probably be sewing most of my stuff this summer within my summer capsule colors. Just because I mean, I sew in a capsule anyway. Now that I know my colors, my Copper Spring colors, pretty much everything I make goes together because I'm working from those 35 colors for everything. So it makes a very cohesive like closet no matter what. Um, so everything will still go together and be wonderful, but I just want to create this summer for the sake of creating and making beautiful things for myself, maybe some for my loved ones, a little bit for Jenny, and just taking the summer to recharge a little bit and just doing some sewing. Now, I know that you guys do enjoy the sew-alongs and those sort of things. So if that is something that you do want to see this summer, what would you prefer? Do you want a mixture of vlog and maybe throw a sew-along in there? A lot of times my sew-alongs will go across a few weeks. If so, what type of sew-alongs are you wanting to see? Anything in particular? Tutorials? Or there, maybe some of that sort of thing? Or do you guys just want a summer of vlogs and then we go back to sew-alongs when the fall hits, Yeah, let me know what you think. And I say a summer of vlogs, I'm talking about the Sunday videos. My Tuesday, Friday videos will probably stay very similar to the way that they are already, just different bits and pieces. I'll do a ready to wear looks and the fabrics and patterns to remake those. I'll probably do some sew the looks. I'll do some pattern reviews. I'll continue to do those type of videos on Tuesdays and Fridays. This is really just kind of the Sundays throughout the summer, what you guys would kind of like to see. Or if you just kind of want to sew along with me and we can do vlog styles throughout the summer. So yeah, let me know what you guys want to see because that's important and I want the content to stay fresh and exciting for you all, but for me as well, so that, we don't get any burnout. And I'm not worried about burnout, but we don't want to hit that point. So yeah, you guys let me know what you all want to see so that we can have a really great time over here on the channel. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button because it's a community that I'm building, and I love to have, I don't want anyone to miss out on anything. I've got a lot of fun newsletter things that'll be going out, little free things that'll be popping up here and there. Also, any of the classes that I release, all that comes out onto the newsletter first as well. All right, guys. I think that's all I have for today. I've done a lot of talking. I hope you guys get some sewing done this weekend. That is my plan. And I will be back on Tuesday with my summer capsule plans. Monday, if you subscribe to the newsletter. And if you subscribe to the newsletter, you get the PDF of what I'm making for mine, but also blank ones so that you can fill out your own as well. Okay, I think that's all I've got. All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful Sunday, and I will see you again on Tuesday. And just let me know what you would like Sundays to look like throughout the remainder of the summer. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.